Nobody welcomes us to church. Nobody welcomes us to church. I just don't feel part of the ward. I've heard some form of this lament among members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in different parts of the world. There is a strange selfishness that causes us to expect others to welcome us to church. I'll talk about church, but the principle applies to almost any organization, group, or neighborhood. Water and people have a natural course. Water doesn't divert itself into your garden, no matter how much you hope it will. The same goes for people. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have strong cultures in our congregations. We are taught to reach out to our neighbors, but we forget. I've moved enough times to realize that while incumbent members are always kind, it's not really natural for members to divert their established flow to water my garden. That's my job. Years ago, I listened to a man lament that he wasn't getting anything out of church. What came out of my mouth shocked me, and I learned something new from my own words because I don't think they really came from my head. We don't go to church for ourselves. We go to church to serve others, and we receive blessings as we do. The gospel of Jesus Christ teaches us to be unselfish in every way because that's the way he always was. It pushes us to break out of our shells and focus on others. The true miracle is that we get so much more out of serving others than we ever would get just focused on ourselves. So, if you want to be more integrated in your ward, jump in and start kicking. Serve. Whether you are brand new or a ward veteran, there is always someone in need nearby. Quit wallowing and start swimming. As an example of how quickly we forget this, in a new ward I was called to oversee missionary work in Provo, Utah. There were 5 homes in the ward boundaries whose residents were not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They all knew about the church. I felt prompted to focus on those who were already members. In your mind, stand at the end of your driveway, I taught in a large group lesson, and think of every house you can see. Do you know them? Do they know you? Have they been in your house? Have you had them over for dinner? Do you love your neighbor? In a uniquely Utah response, someone asked, what if they are in the other stake? The invisible lines of Mormon congregations had kept them from loving their actual neighbors. It wasn't malicious. It was just water flowing in the established natural course. Do the same thing in your mind at your own home. Then start doing something about the neighbors you haven't loved yet. To follow Jesus Christ, we need to divert our own lives out of their natural flow. We can't expect others to do it for us. It would be great if they did the same, but it is our job to move first. If you don't feel fully integrated in your ward, jump in and start kicking. It doesn't have to be flashy, but it does have to be you. Invite people over for dinner or games. Sit next to someone new. Stay later and help clean up. Magnify your calling by caring actively for those you serve. Pray about the families to whom you minister. Get to know your neighbor. If you don't feel part of the ward, make yourself a bigger part.